Before we get to music, let's talk the outfit. What do we have?
Yeah, so this is Christian Siriano Custom. He's a friend of mine now, and he sent me this suit on the fly, and then I spent a couple seasons of Survivor sewing this corset so I could be here on time.
So tell us a little bit. This is your second year here at CMT, and you have your debut album coming out pretty shortly. Tell us a little bit about what you can expect and what you're going to bring to the country music genre that we haven't seen before.
Sure. So I've got a new single May 24th called Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, and it's sort of like if Donna Summer were still alive and we wrote a song together. That's what I'm bringing to the table. It just so happens I wrote it a couple of years ago, but now is the time of this sort of the genre breaking wide open, and it's time for the experimentation of it all. And then the album comes out later in the summer, and the genre I've sort of carved out for myself I'm calling Southern Glam Rock, because let's face it, nobody's doing it like I'm doing it.
And tell us a little bit just about how important it is. I know we kind of talked about this last year, but it's so evident. You just mentioned sort of breaking down all the glass ceilings in country. You bring something different, being part of the LGBT community openly in the country community. Beyonce bringing Cowboy Carter now. There's so much happening. Why is it so important for you to be able to say, hey, I'm here, we're doing country, and country's for everybody?
Yeah, for the longest time, I was so afraid that there was only room for one of me. And it took me a long time, but when I looked down the carpet today, like last year even, I didn't really see my friends who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, just in their own way. And there are so many of us here this year, and I have to give credit to CMT for allowing this space, for opening up the lane wide enough for those of us who have forever been on the fringe to stand in the middle and to speak our truth. And so I am happy that I look better than all my friends, but at least they're here.
And one last question for you. What do you want people to think about, or what do you want people to think about you as an artist if they haven't listened to you before? When this album comes out, what's going to define you? What's going to describe your music?
Sure. My music is in a space all its own just because I'm not trying to be like anyone else. I grew up in Arkansas, and I was surrounded by all these different sounds of the South, and so I'm trying to honor those sounds but while also holding the South accountable for its sins that have taken place over the centuries. And so I'm hopeful that my activism is not polarizing, it's a uniting force. And so we'll see if I get to come back next year. Maybe I'll be sent to jail, CMT jail, who knows.
And one last question for you. Speaking of not being in CMT jail, who are you most excited to see tonight perform at this big show?
Trisha Yearwood. If she sings one note, I'll go home happy. I just I've been a fan of hers my whole life. I've studied her work. The way she approaches a note is all her own. It's a Trisha Yearwood way of doing it. So I think her getting this Icon Award is very appropriate and a little late as far as I'm concerned.